Is it just me, or did they just slap the 1492 logo over the top of the old Caravan Pictures logo?
Yes, I think it's just you. These two pictures don't even look remotely the same. Is this seriously how we're opening this video?
I know I don't usually send the length of credits, but holy these credits are long. They seem longer than the year it was March 2020.
Well, in this case, I think it's warranted, since it's allowing us to see the museum that the whole movie is about to take place in. And Alan Silvestri's music is pretty decent too.
Some asshole is running across the street in New York and gets honked at by a taxicab cliche.
Welcome to New York City.
Well, that was the umbrella corporation for my invention, the snapper.
Larry commits the cardinal sin in job placement strategy by mentioning the Umbrella Corporation.
Oh man, I am so glad I looked up what the Umbrella Corporation was. Turns out it's a company in the Resident Evil video games. I was about to write a sin with me under the impression that this company was real. All that to say, arbitrary video game reference.
Can I call you Debbie? Because, I felt a connection when I entered this office.
Dude, that's your mom.
In case you haven't seen this movie in a while, no, this isn't his mom. Jeremy's just making a joke. And a pretty lame one at that.
I know they couldn't shoot inside the actual Museum of Natural History, and I know that recreating such a building is tough, but this production makes the museum look so small. The actual museum is so huge that after you buy a ticket, you nearly consider watching the Mets instead.
I think the excuses you made are pretty good ones.
He was our 4th president, right?
26.
I get the joke, and look, I want to impress Carlo Gugino too, but everybody on Earth knows you never open your mouth until you know what the shot is. Child.
Maybe it's just me, but I didn't get the impression that Larry was trying to impress her, or at least not in the romantic way. Maybe he was just trying to say what he knows since he thinks he'll be working with her. Remember, he doesn't know that he's applying for a night guard yet.
Why does the outgoing security team get to interview Larry? Wouldn't this be Dr. McPhee's job? Considering that they need a hand-picked fall guy, this is kind of convenient, right?
So according to this Google AI search, no, it wouldn't be Dr. McPhee's job. If you're being interviewed for a night guard, you would most likely be interviewed by the actual security team. I'll admit though that I tried searching for links to this claim and couldn't find it. However, I'm willing to believe this, since these guys have the experience and they need to tell Larry what they expect from him.
Also, if they're the night guards, then why are they at the museum during the day? And it must be pretty early because Larry goes back home before he comes back for his shift.
Probably because they want to meet the person that they want to frame for stealing Ahmed Ra's tablet. You literally stated in the previous end that you know they wanted him to be a fall guy, so you know this already.
Got a question. Why should we root for this guy? Yeah, he's got a kid and he doesn't want to lose his ability to see the kid. But what about him makes us want him to succeed?
You don't have to root for this guy. He's simply the protagonist of this story. That's it. Why can't you just watch the movie as is? I mean, if we're using this logic, then we should root for Coriolanus Snow in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, just because he's the main character of that movie, right? You know, the guy who helped the dadgum Hunger Games continue for as long as they did.
Don't know why a dinosaur skeleton needs to drink water, but hey, nice visual.
You know what else I don't know? How does a skeleton see and hear things? It doesn't have eyes or ears. How is it roaring? It doesn't have lungs. It's a skeleton. My point is that it's already unrealistic, and you have to suspend your disbelief.
Number 1, throw the bone. What bone?
Also, who writes down directions that simply say, throw the bone without any other goddamn explanation?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. This T-Rex is literally at the entrance of the museum, so I feel like it's a good place to start. And throwing the bone is the only thing Larry needs to do to keep it occupied.
I don't get it. Is this suggesting that the elevator is going down with Attila's head stuck in it? I think it's pretty clear the elevator is not moving, since you can see the ceiling behind Attila as his head moves up. I have no idea what's just happened, but I'm mad about it.
Yeah, the elevator is going down. Larry literally pressed the down button before getting in. And why wouldn't we see the ceiling? The elevator isn't low enough to get out of range, considering Attila's head is still squeezing through the doors.
The glass. I can't.
Why does every display in this museum have zero glass, but this one does?
Every display? What about the spots where the miniatures are? Granted, you have to open and close them, but my point still stands.
She just signaled she couldn't hear you, and you acknowledged it as well. So what are you doing, Larry?
Yelling? Didn't you notice he raised his voice so she could hear him?
Look, just because Ben Stiller played a lion in Madagascar doesn't mean he can actually outrun a lion. And what took this lion so long to go in for the attack? And if he's getting locked up every night, what does he eat? Since he's so clearly hungry. Does the museum have to replace some of their animals occasionally because the lion eats them? And did they have questions about that?
That was just a lot of questions crammed into one sin. What was the sin for exactly?
God damn it, why is Larry so willy-nilly with this list that is clearly super important?
What makes you think he's willy-nilly with it? Just because a monkey stole them?
Hey, stop that!
Go Larry's Travels.
Arbitrary ancient book reference.
Big no can do, Cracker Jack.
What's going on here, huh?
Somebody's gotta pay. Pay for what? I don't know. Just pay. Now stop whining.
The writer's confusion on what the actual point of the movie is somehow makes it into the script.
You mean the point of adapting a book that shows statues inside a museum come to life? I don't know, I feel like that's point enough for this movie to exist.
Unleash hell!
Considering the display figures have memories, don't they know that their attacks won't work? If this has been going on for as long as it has, isn't there an understanding at this point?
No, honestly, these guys just feel pretty dumb to me.
Theodore Roosevelt, 26th President of these United States of America, at your service.
Did Teddy Roosevelt always introduce himself as the 26th President of the United States? Because holy that's obnoxious.
That doesn't matter. This isn't Teddy Roosevelt. He's a statue recreation of the real person. This character even makes that point later in the movie, but I know that you've seen that scene later, so that makes this one even more egregious.
Arrived here in 1952 from the Nile expedition. On that night, everything in this museum came to life.
And obviously the night watchman that evening was killed, and the animals somehow didn't break out of the museum, and this story has somehow been kept under wraps for 50 years.
I only have an answer to the second statement. Wouldn't that night watchman have locked the doors back then? And even if an animal did break out, it would have turned to dust when the sun rose. How do you think anyone even knows that that's what happens?
So everything in the museum comes to life every night?
I'm confused as well, Tug Speedman. What if the museum was having a nighttime gala or event? Does the cursed object know to only bring everything to life when only the guard is around?
Oh, come on, that's too easy. When Cecil and his buddy steal the tablet later on, they turn one of the dials in it, and that causes the magic to not work. So if they did have a night gala, they could just do that to prevent the statues from coming to life.
So how do all the animals know exactly where to be and at what time? And why would they even cooperate? You're telling me that monkey goes back to the exact place it's supposed to be?
Maybe those spots are a favorite for them or something.
Larry, we wanted to tell you never would have believed us.
You're right. Letting him discover the truth about this place while he's alone in the museum with a million things that can kill him is the best option.
Yeah, Larry wouldn't have believed them. Besides, Cecil is a villain.
Wow, perfect timing. Just when Larry was going to quit his job, Paul Rudd shows up with Larry's son to remind him that he needs to keep it.
And it's such perfect timing that all these circumstances that have ever happened in our lives led to our videos being made, right?
You got an extra copy of that instruction manual?
Oh, no, I'm afraid not, Larry. Listen, I'll tell you what you do. Read some books, brush up on your history.
This guy did the same job for decades, and he can't simply dictate a new instruction manual for Larry. Also, Larry is a dumbass. I get that. But don't you have more questions about this? Don't you want to know why other people who work at the museum don't know about what happens here overnight?
Because they don't work overnight? Think about that, dude. Why would Rebecca, for example, need to know that? She's not going to see it, nor would she believe them if they did tell her. It's not worth the trouble.
What kind of bookstore is this? And how would you find anything? There are just 2 random editions of the Encyclopedia Britannica mixed in a shelf with other books that don't seem to be in any kind of particular order. This chaos. Is this page going to tell him about the Easter Island Head's fascination with chewing gum? I only ask because it seems like this montage of knowledge is supposed to make him better prepared for all the exhibits coming to life at night, but it won't have information about throwing the T-Rex a bone or locking up the lions or the monkeys stealing his keys. Just because you know their history doesn't mean it'll help you with their idiosyncrasies when they come to life.
I'll grant you that his research doesn't help with everything, but it does help with some things. The cavemen, for instance, who Larry was able to help occupy by showing them fire, something they didn't know about. Or how about Attila and the Huns? In fact, in that last scene that you sinned, Larry read a book that tells him that Attila was fascinated with magic, and he used that knowledge tonight.
He's got the bone tied to a remote-controlled truck to keep the T-Rex occupied, just like all the websites taught him.
Okay, this is just double dipping of the same thing.
Quest for fire? Over.
So giving them a working lighter seems like a good idea?
Here's Larry doing the fire thing, as I mentioned before, and Jeremy's ignoring it.
Seriously, why wouldn't he just lock all these exhibits down as soon as the museum closes? Why wait until they have a chance to escape? The rationale of this movie is infuriating.
And here's a scene that shows an exhibit with glass, and Jeremy still kept that previous in where he asked why the Sacagawea exhibit was the only one to have glass.
And if you don't do what I say, you can end up like your little buddies in the Mayan world over there.
Yeah, about that. Why did you give the cowboy and the Roman guy a chance to roam free as long as they behaved, but you just locked up the Mayans without giving them a chance? Isn't that kind of racist?
Because the Mayans were shooting him while the Romans and cowboys were not.
Also, I'm probably going to belabor this point, but how did Larry's research he did during the day help him at all? He hasn't used one bit of that knowledge yet.
And you belaboring that point won't stop me from accusing you of triple dipping, which will cause the sin count to grow even more.
So have fun playing with your baby keys, little baby monkey. Maybe tomorrow night I'll bring you a little baby diaper so you can go poo-poo with it.
Skipping Ben's still overdoing his comedy shtick.
You checking her out?
The nerve. Checking her out.
Oh, I've never heard of such a thing.
He actually probably hasn't, because I doubt anyone used that terminology in the early 1900s.
He probably has, actually, since he's been able to come to life for 50 years now, and so has spent plenty of time with modern-day night guards.
Everybody likes magic.
Sure, he locked up the Mayans behind glass, but he doesn't do anything to keep the Huns from wandering around the place. Seems like that would be the third thing he would want to do after securing the T-Rex and the lions.
See, right here, Larry is using magic to woo the Huns, and he wouldn't have known that if he didn't do his research.
Please do not tear the limbs!
Escaped animals ex machina? What exactly in the made these animals suddenly want to run down the steps together like they're in the Lion King? They didn't do that last night.
First of all, isn't that because Larry was able to get his keys back from Dexter last night, unlike this night when Dexter took them? Second of all, you are again misusing Deus Ex Machina. These animals being free actually puts the museum in a worse state than it was before, so it's not a solution to a problem.
Was that door seriously not locked? How have they not lost more exhibits at this point? And wasn't this door locked on the first night?
Again, Dexter stole Larry's keys, and we saw him open a window earlier, which is how this caveman escaped, so he most likely unlocked the front door.
Just want to show him what I do. That's all.
I don't think Nicky has any room in his heart for more disappointment.
You won't be disappointed.
But he might get eaten. Or tortured, but definitely not disappointed, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, but this is Larry's third night. He's more prepared now and can prevent that.
This is gonna sound crazy, all right?
Oh, Lord. He's going to tell Rebecca about the impossible thing that you can't ever believe unless you see it for yourself. There are ways of making her want to stay that don't involve him sounding crazy, but he went right for the absolute worst choice.
I was with you up until you said there are ways to make her want to stay, as if that's why Larry is telling her this. No, that's not true. Rebecca stated that she is fascinated by Sacagawea and wants to know all about her. And since there is a doppelganger of Sacagawea literally in this museum, Larry is being courteous and wants to give her the opportunity to talk to her.
Does seriously no one ever lock that front door?
But didn't you literally say that it was locked the first night? You're contradicting yourself.
This is weird.
Guys, come on!
Main character has to prove to someone close to them that whatever weird is happening is really happening, but on that night it doesn't happen, even though it's been happening consistently up until that point. Cliché.
You keep using that word, cliche. I do not think it means what you think it means.
I'm sorry to tell you this, son, but your dad doesn't work here anymore. Got fired this morning. Couldn't hack it.
But why do you think he got fired? Unless you two were in the lobby when Dr. McPhee fired him and you didn't stay around to find out that he gave him one more chance.
You're kidding me, right? Cecil knows that Larry wasn't fired. He's just lying right now. Larry literally says that.
So what exactly is the range of the tablet? Because once they get away from the museum, wouldn't they just turn back into mannequins and statues again?
I haven't seen the second movie in a while, but I remember that it showed the tablet's range being pretty freaking huge, since it brought so many statues in the Smithsonian to life.
I never did any of those things. Teddy Roosevelt did. I was made in a mannequin factory in Poughkeepsie.
Mannequin 3, Teddy's Final Decree.
See? Jeremy's sent a scene where Teddy talks about how he's not the real Teddy, and yet he still kept that previous sin about him introducing himself as the 26th president.
Also, why is it that when you come to life, you have all the knowledge and memories of Teddy Roosevelt?
Because it's magic.
Why does Attila the Hun seem to do things like Attila the Hun? At least a comic version of him.
Maybe because he doesn't realize exactly what's going on as a statue in a museum.
Furthermore, why do you know so much about the way the museum works and the nature of your creation and nobody else does?
I would imagine because Teddy is smart enough to want to learn all about this, unlike most people here.
Ah, Freddie Mercury!
Arbitrary movie reference.
I would love to bestow it upon you, but we don't actually have it.
I guess the Over the Hill gang is still in the museum looting or whatever, but why wouldn't they have turned the tablet off so they didn't have to worry about all the exhibits preventing them from doing whatever the it is they are doing?
OMG, I thought the same thing. The fact that Cecil went through the trouble of turning it off but then didn't do it when it was turned back on is so weird to me. Thanks for pointing that out.
Movie makes me conflicted on whether I should root for the old crook to get away with robbing the Museum of Natural History or Christopher Columbus, and movie is wrong.
Again with this whole why should I root for this character thing. And besides, this isn't the real Christopher Columbus.
How would any of them know what a tire is and how to flatten it?
Jeremy seriously just asked this question because apparently he didn't think about the fact that Larry could have told them, which he most likely did.
He went east, but he lost control and crashed.
You're amazing. How can you tell that?
How did none of them see that the first time they went outside?
I think that was the joke.
They were trained not to stop for anything but a secret word.
Really? You mean a word like Dakota!
Larry's bullshit research into stagecoaches pays off miraculously at the end of the movie. Also, if he had that nugget in his back pocket, why hadn't he used it before now?
Because he wasn't close enough to yell at the horses until now. Dang, a lot of these questions Jeremy asks have the easiest answers.
Now, River Guy was a brilliant pygmy who spoke only by clicking.
Also, who knew Teddy Roosevelt was the Robin Williams of the early 20th century?
Dude, he literally said that he's not the real Teddy Roosevelt, and that he's only based on him. And besides, why would you cast Robin Williams and have him not act comedic? Unless you're watching something like Good Will Hunting, expecting this from him is a guarantee.
Ta siker heser ta nu, ta taten, achmen rahu.
Wait, what? Tablet Ex Machina, I guess?
No, it's not a Deus Ex Machina. This tablet belongs to Achman Ra, the character who just spoke that incantation. He obviously knows how it works, and so is able to activate to gather all the statues and have them returned to the museum. Done. Probably because they want to meet the person that they want to frame for stealing Achman Ra. Oh boy. Achman Ra. Yeah, they pronounced it Achman Ra. Is Achman Ra real? Actually, I want to look that up. Is Achman Ra a real character? Oh, he's fictional. No, not at the museum. Completely made him up. Okay. Probably because they want to meet the person that they want to frame for stealing Achman Ra's tablet. Probably because they want to meet the person that they want to frame for stealing Achman Ra's. Oh, I'm gonna hate saying this word. Probably because they want to meet the person that they want to frame for stealing Achman Ra's tablet. It's good enough. What? Yeah, the elevator is going down. Larry literally pressed the... Yeah, the elevator is going down. Larry literally pressed the button down. And here's a scene that shows an exhibit with glass, and Jeremy still kept that previous sin where he asked what a Sacagawea. It's funny because the movie itself has a running gag about that, about how to pronounce Sacagawea's name. Sacagawea, right? I hope I'm saying it right. And you belaboring that point won't stop me from accusing you of triple dipping, which will cause the sin count to grow even bigger. I don't like that. Grow even more. Not bigger, even more. That sounds better. I don't know, why did I write bigger? You keep using that word, cliche. I do not think it means what you think it means. That's haven't seen Princess Bride in a while, but that was close enough, right? You're kidding me, right? Cecil knows that Larry wasn't fired. He's just lying right now. Larry literally says that. Larry literally. I never realized that would be a huge tongue twister, man.